Well, hello.
Buy the RV. We start tomorrow.
Interesting. Also interesting.
Don pairing Don.
The way Jesse pronounces that. This is certainly a way to start your episode. That's for sure. It will be interesting to see how Jesse went from this to changing his mind, because it is clear here that Jesse is taking the money, for his advantage, right? But this is still like season 1, episode 1 Jesse. A lot has changed. Skinny Pete couldn't handle all of that, huh?
Oh, I'm so dead.
You will be dead. Later in the show.
What do you want with an RV for? Cause like...
Interesting.
I gotta like... leave town or change my identity or something.
Right. This is the angle that we're going for. The question of why is Jesse always coming back, right? It's more complicated than what we would imagine.
Come on, we gotta bounce. For real, yo. Get it out of here.
It's almost as if they're stealing the RV. Jesus, Jesse. This does tie into like Hank's whole operation of trying to find out where the RV is, right? Because Hank is tracking it down.
Dad.
Yeah?
Mom's asking.
That's a way to reveal yourself. I really love how close we are to Walter's face in that shot. Very claustrophobic. Well, look who is snooping around. The homie Gomi, looking out for him.
I ain't feeling it. No smoke, no smell, no waste. There's no cook.
Gomi's got the right idea. Somebody's watching.
What are you doing?
You can see a person right there inside of the RV. There has been a mistake. At least he got away from that mess. He has a way with words, right?
Where you headed?
El Paso?
Texas.
This is a problem because we are separating Gomi and Hank. Because you kind of need that balance, right, when it comes to Hank. Well, all of the characters in Breaking Bad does.
How'd it go last night?
Good.
Interesting shot, just lingering on
Breakfast?
this.
Yeah, well, I needed some time here because I'm deep into this investigation and couldn't do both.
I mean, we know it's more than that.
You know that you can talk to me about things, right?
Communication.
Did you not want to go?
She has the right idea.
Too late for work or something?
Deflecting.
I mean, I'm doing some actual good out here, and all I get are these bullshit accusations. You hear me?
Shh.
What exactly is this?
That stare. The shot, though.
Trusting him with a solo venture?
That little smile from Gus. He won. He knows that he won.
You believe I have some proprietary kind of selfishness about my own formula.
Well,
Some sort of overweening pride, I suppose.
I mean...
Simply overwhelms me. Clouds my judgment.
Wow.
Absolutely not.
Hypocritical?
Would you take a drive with me? I'd like to show you something.
Oh, this should be interesting. What is he gonna show? The chicken farm or something entirely new? These two.
So where are you? Are you at work?
Yeah, I'm at work.
Work. Now this is a bit irresponsible. Very irresponsible on Skylar's part, I would say.
Facing death, it changes a person. It has to, don't you think?
Well, there you go.
You've noticed a change in Walt.
Didn't really have to acknowledge like the obvious there because Marie has pretty much told it right there and then, right? Facing death changes a person. Meanwhile, the said person in question. So where are we? Secret. Stairs that leads downstairs? Yep, there's always something sinister hiding underneath. Love the red lighting in this shot as well. Coming from below, of course, almost as if going down into the depths of hell.
Your new lab.
Oh, well, well, well. Love this music that they're playing. Huh, Walter is literally about to make a deal with the devil. The devil being Gus. I will provide you with everything that you want and more. How can you possibly refuse?
Sodium oxide.
You see how Walter's face lit up during that moment? Yeah, he lost. Gus won this game, that's for sure.
You would choose your own hours, of course. Come and go as you please. So long as the quota is met.
Giving him false freedom, right? You can come and go whenever you want. You can choose. Ah, that smile on his face. Come on, Walt. You know it's too good to be true.
I have made a series of very bad decisions, and I cannot make another one.
Why did you make these decisions?
For the good of my family.
Then they weren't bad decisions. A man provides for his family. And he does it even when he's not appreciated, or respected, or even loved. He simply bears up, and he does it because he's a man.
Damn. And just like that, Gus truly hurt Walter's pride there in that exact moment. And also enticing him in even further and also kind of elevating him in a way that, yeah. What's the matter, Skylar? You don't like this floor anymore? Love the divide in this shot. This is great.
Can I be excused?
To do homework or to play video games?
I can multitask.
Walter Jr., that is the way to go. What great cinematography. The shift into this shot. The baby right there in the middle. Literally the divider. The baby is what divides both of them, and it is also simultaneously the thing that is keeping them both intact within the frame. Gonna let Walter do it?
You want to take her?
There you go. Honestly, one of my favorite shots in the entire show right now. A simple pillar dividing these two just speaks volumes in terms of like visual storytelling. And now the framing of the two pillars left and right, kind of making a 4:3 aspect ratio, right? Kind of confining Walter in that moment. Yeah. Or is it a window? I think that's a window. And there goes the last of the RV. So it is unregistered. Not registered or registered in a different state. I'm not sure how this actually works. I really hope Gomi... doesn't die because of this. Well, that's not visually striking at all. Literally dividing Mexico and the United States in half.
No police report either.
Man, they really portrayed Hank's anxiety and his caution and everything just really good. What is that bag? Oh yeah, it is the bag, isn't it? It's the bag with the money. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? It's right there. Walter's work that goes unappreciated. Yeah, just take some. Yeah, just take some. Just one won't hurt, right? You don't want to take it? Temptation is a great theme of this episode.
I didn't count it. It's heavy.
Skylar is slowly revealing about Walter more and more to her, which can be alarming.
Asking my permission to spend this money?
No. God, no. No, I'm just,
All courtesy of this criminal you refuse to divorce.
I didn't marry a criminal.
Well, you're married to one now.
Ooh. That stings. The immediate cut to black. And Gunn's acting has always been great, by the way. Like, I don't think I've ever actually complimented her that much throughout this entire series of reactions, but she's always been great. Well, everything is clean. The bag is gone. You had your chance, Skylar. You decided not to take the money at all. Shh. Yeah.
He's here.
Send him in.
Walter's gonna come in and he's gonna say, "Time to cook."
Hello, Walt. Good to see you.
It's Heisenberg, actually.
I hate to break it to you, Jesse.
Here we go.
I'm in.
You're out.
You're out.
Yeah.
Hold on there. Hey, what was the offer?
Of course, Saul wants in on this. You know, like he wants the money.
Well, you're going to need that money laundered, right? I mean, of course. What was our deal before?
Well.
5%.
14's fair.
5.
13.
5.
12. For old time's sake, 12.
5.
I'm a reasonable guy. It's a short-term deal. 10 even, but I can't go any lower and still respect myself. 5.
Yeah. Hey now, Jesse. Hey now. Don't vandalize his car. Well, that poor Win. How many times in this show? Like, how many times?
Do you have an RV?
I did. It was stolen months ago.
There it is.
Well, then I'm curious as to why the theft was never reported. I'm not seeing any records of it with the police or the DMV.
Yeah. Because your son, cousin, family member was the one who took it.
I'm arrested.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about, Mr. Ortega?
My son.
Thanks for this. I really appreciate it.
Hank really is getting to the bottom of this. The photo from the beginning, huh? Okay, season 3, episode 5 of Breaking Bad. You know, I gotta say, when the first cold open appears, you know, like the opening segment of this episode, I was like, where are they going with this? Because this is something that we have seen from episode 1 of the series. Like, where are they going with this? Sure enough, it is leading up to the eventual, I guess, possession of the RV and also the evidence that Hank is going to find towards the end of the episode. But more so, it also deals with the character of Jesse and, more importantly, the reasonings behind some of his actions, right? because here we are seeing a path, if you will, of Jesse obtaining the money from Walt and also using the money for something else, right? He pretty much blew all of that money away for going to a strip club, right, with all of his friends. And he could have just took the money, used it, and run away. As he mentioned, when he was talking to Combo right after they went out of the strip club, and they said, and then they said, like, oh man, I gotta get out of town, I gotta change my ID and all that stuff, But no, ultimately Jesse still keep to his words. He still gets an RV, whether stolen or not. But regardless, he still got the RV for Walter, right? And this has been a recurring character trait for Jesse in particular, right? You can also attribute this to Walter, but essentially it is the trait of Jesse has always been this character who obviously he does not want to be he doesn't want to do what he is told to do, but he does it anyways because he sees the benefits in the long run, right? Cooking with Walter multiple times throughout this entire series. We are 3 seasons in, and there has been plenty of breakups between Walter and Jesse, right? They create meth, they split up, they create meth again, they split up, they create meth, they split, they split again and again and again. And every time they split, they say, I'm done with you, I'm done working with you, I'm leaving all of this behind. Even Jesse, throughout the beginning of this season, we see him, I guess, meditating, if you will, or reflecting upon his actions and what has happened to him in the past, right? Specifically, what happened to Jane and all. He is reflecting a lot on the negatives, which is obviously fair. You develop as a person through all of the mistakes that you made. And yet, despite all of that, despite after rehabilitating and moving on, the moment Saul comes in and say, hey man, you still want to make some money, like kind of need some money as well, want to convince your old partner in crime and such, he still says yes. He still says yes. He still looks at the opportunity of making money, making a positive outcome, and he decides to take the risk and does it all again. Here is no exception. And then of course you got Walter, who, at this point we all know what's the deal with Walter, right? He's always going to get back to all of this despite everything that he said. But that's mostly due to how every time he comes back, it is because his pride was hurt. It was, let's say, an act of spite. Like, oh, you think my pride is hurt? You think you hurt me? You think this will affect me? No. I'm gonna do it. That's always Walter. That has always been the case with Walter, and that is a flaw to his character, because ultimately this is what led Walter to this very position. Like, Walter could have easily stopped somewhere in the first season, reap the rewards, he already got the money, right, and then just move on. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. He still wants more. The moment Gus provided him with all of the necessary means of like, hey, this is your new place, this is your new kitchen, this is your new equipment, state of the art, really enticing, while also jabbing a bit at Walter's pride of like, yeah, that Jesse Pinkman fellow, we're still making business with him, we're still dealing with him, unless you want to do some business with us, we can work some things out. And of course Walter says, of course, I am the creator of this formula, why should I give it to somebody else? And here comes Gus, right? Nice little segue there. Gus has been a really great character in this entire series, I would add, because especially in this episode, it goes to show how much he actually pulls the strings in the back, right? He is the one who is controlling all of this. Walter, Jesse, even Saul, they're all in his palms, right? They're all, in a way, working for Gus, right? Because when Gus is able to rope in Walter into his cause, that is also going to affect Jesse and especially Saul. Saul just wants in on the money, right? And that is, I think, also going to be his downfall. There's a lot of downfall moments in this episode, if I'm being completely honest. Like, there's Saul, there's Jesse, there's Walter especially. I mean, in a way, you can attribute every character working with the other character as their downfall, because all of these characters, they're not good people, right? It's not like these people are morally good. No, they're all, in a way, criminals who are working undercover. So it's not like there's any good in them working together with Gus. There's no good in them working together with Saul. No, it's only going to bring in the criminal world much more closer to them, right? But while that is pretty obvious, Hank is on a completely different story here, but one that I will also say is tracking to his downfall. We've already talked about this in previous episode discussions, right? Of how Hank choosing to follow his intuition and choosing to not go to El Paso and solve this Heisenberg case instead, this blue crystal problem. That is his downfall. That is his biggest mistake. Him choosing the safest option is actually the worst option. And now I am also scared of Gomi, who apparently is going to go to El Paso, right? Taking Hank's place. Is this going to be a reminder to Hank? Like, are we going to see a situation where in the future Gomi may get hurt, worst case scenario dead, and then that's going to be haunting Hank for a long while? Like, that could have been me, right? Piling more into the survivor's guilt that Hank is already living right now, right, of El Paso. Like, Hank cannot get away from El Paso, man. So I really hope that Gomi is alright, but that's just not how it works. That is not how cause and effect, consequences and actions, like, no. Gomi is 100% going to be in a sort of problematic situation. Let's just put it that way. It can be, again, like I said, it can be him getting hurt. It can be him just getting killed. But either way, it is the reminder to Hank that you are the one responsible for putting Gomi in the situation because you did not choose to go to El Paso. This could have been you in any different circumstances. You could maybe possibly have a different outcome. We don't know, right? Who are we to say? We're not God. But that is still going to be a thought in his mind if it does happen, right? And it is going to only propel Hank's character further downward into this harrowing spiral of addiction, but not the literal addiction, but more so the addiction of solving this case, right? I kind of attributed that analogy in, I think, the previous episode discussion, if I'm being, if I remember correctly. But yeah, something about Hank being addicted to solving the Heisenberg case, of solving the blue crystal without actually consuming the blue crystal. So in a way, it has that effect, right? The blue crystal has this passive effect when it comes to Hank's character in a bad way as well. But it also is excellent storytelling in terms of like, hey, yeah, this stuff is addictive. This stuff can hurt, kill, change people for better or for worse. Whether it is Hank, Walter, Jesse, Gus, Saul, Skylar, like everybody's affected in one way or another. Besides all of that, speaking of Skylar, I do find her character to be, at least in this episode, reasonable, to say the least. Like, it's not like Skylar has never been unreasonable, because it's just an unfortunate situation that she is not the protagonist, right? But I think it's fair to both understand her character and why she does all the things that she does, especially in this episode where she is starting to admit some things to I forgot her profession, but the lady that she keeps meeting, right? The one who is taking care of the divorce and such. Having said that, it's not like everything that Skylar does is good, because there are plenty of actions where, well, it is very how do I put this? There are plenty of actions that Skylar has done that are very quote unquote annoying or a nuisance for Walter's character, and therefore by through his proxy to us as well as the audience, as we can sort of feel Walter's frustrations in regards to like Skylar's antics and such. But if you look at it in a far more if you look at it in a different perspective, if you look at it, if you look ever deeper into it, you will also realize that what Skylar has done for the most part has been pretty reasonable and understandable, right? Of course she wants to do this, of course she wants to do that, of course she wants to, try to gain like the best for her family and such, because Walter is technically a criminal, like we cannot ignore that. Walter is a criminal and a murderer and somebody who will endanger the entire family if the wrong people came. I mean, heck, the two cousins, right, of the Salamancas, they are right there, right? They were in the house as we speak. Gus knows probably where Walter lives at this point. Everybody does at this point as well, so it's really a matter of time before they actually come in at the wrong time to disrupt everything. So on one hand, you can fully understand why Skylar is doing all of these things, because from her perspective, and rightfully so, Walter is the bad guy. But then you also get moments where Skylar is just straight up cheating on Walter and all that stuff, and you can make the argument that, hey, it's payback for Walter, but still though, it's not like Walter has cheated on Skylar. Well, at least during marriage. Let's put an asterisk on that, during marriage, because we know that Walter has a relationship with I'm forgetting her name, but you know what I'm talking about. And I feel like at this point in the story, at least in this specific episode, there are hints and I guess a sense of direction in which Skylar may be doing something that is actually bad, something that one would say is unreasonable, something that one would also say is going against her own character, and that is, of course, taking the money. Skylar has always been, let's just say, just like Hank, the law, right? She is a law-abiding citizen. Despite everything, despite every chance that she was given, she still did not report Walter to the police and such, which is kind of it is showing that she still does care about Walter, right? She still has this sense of care, affection. In a way, you could also say that she's doing that because that is more beneficial to the kids than for herself. But the thought of her taking the money, right? Because it is right there, right? She had that thought, right? She looked at the bag, she took the bag, she opened the bag, the money's right there. She could have taken it, right? She could have just took one, and then that's it. And then that can also become an addiction, right? She's gonna take one, then she's gonna take two, and then 3, 4, until eventually Walter's gonna figure out that, hey, the money's not adding up here. Where are they, right? So that was almost a possibility that Skylar could have gone to, but she didn't, right? She still held back. She asked advice in a manner of, clearly she thought about that, because when she was asked, like, did you actually think of taking the money? And then she's like, what? No, 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 why would I do that? No, no, that's preposterous. No, like, come on. Like, that's pretty obvious that she was thinking about that, right? And the sad realization, I don't want to say sad, actually, it's a difficult emotion to put into words, but her reaction to seeing that Walter has not only removed the bag, so she doesn't know where the bag is. So if she changed her mind and she does want to take the money, then she can't because she needs to find the bag again. But also the fact that Walter has actually signed the divorce papers. On one hand, you can see that as Skylar being sad that this is actually happening, as in deep down she doesn't really want to divorce Walter, but she's doing this because Walter's actions and greater good and all that stuff. But also the idea that if Walter is gone and he disappears and he's no longer in this house, then does that mean that we're not gonna get any money now? Question mark. Right? You gotta take into account like the thoughts that must have been on Skylar's mind at that point, because it does speak volumes to her actual character, right? And at this point, I am not willing to draw into any conclusion or any, judgment, because obviously she is teetering between the two, right? Of being the wife or mother that takes care of the family, or Skylar as an individual, right? It's like there's two, right? Just like Walter and Heisenberg, right? You have the character who is a loving father and a loving husband, and then you have the character who looks for himself and is a drug dealer and a murderer and somebody who is very prideful and who obviously will do anything to save his family, but he's also willing to fracture the family if it means that in the future we're gonna fix it. Like that's like the delusional part right now. Is that, oh, don't worry, the family is fractured now, but if I work harder, then I will gain their good graces, right? I could fix this. I could fix this, right? I could make this work. Believe in me. Like, I don't think that's how it works, Walter. I don't think that's how it works, especially in a narrative plot, right? That's just not how it. That's no. You have done your action and now you are facing the consequences, basically. So yeah, there's like two sides and everything, even for Skylar as well. So that I am very much curious on in the future. All of the main family protagonists characters have all of these different sides to them that are always a pleasure to watch and dissect. Hank especially as well. Marie has been kind of sidelined these past couple of episodes. Not that I'm mad about that, but it's just that looking at some of her prominence in the first season and the current season, she's not really, being very active in regards to like the story and all. She's kind of there for Hank's like support for the time being, but we still haven't reached that point where she is really, in a way, changing the main plot of the story, unlike all of these other characters. But speaking of Marie, that moment when Marie was taking care of the baby and Skylar was just working while trying to see her boss, I don't know, something about that just felt kind of icky to me on Skylar's part, because I don't know, it's like if she was working, then I have no problem with it, because a person's got to work, right? She has to make money somehow. She has to support the family somehow, right? And having Marie look out for the baby, being babysitter and all, that's fine. But when you say work and you're not really working and you're actually doing something else, so that just goes to show that you're actually just escaping all of that shit in order to pleasure yourself. And I just find that to be very icky and very wrong. Like, no, Skylar. Prioritize your baby. if you are working, then I can see that as you prioritizing the baby because you are prioritizing your family needs, right? But you're not really working here. You're just having fun. And that is a no-no from me, even as somebody who sometimes defends Skylar in these reactions, because obviously, you know, like, it's not like Skylar is 100% wrong. It's just that we kind of antagonize or villainize her because we need somebody to be a villain or antagonist, because she is technically an obstacle to Walter's objective. But still, though. But that's just pretty much it for Skylar, and I guess for this review as well. Curious to see what happens next, even though it's kind of obvious that what happens next is that we're going to see Jesse and Walter, you know, coming back together again and work together and cook again, this time for Gus, right? And thus the cycle repeat itself again, because before in season 1, we were cooking meth for Tuco, and then season 2 happened where everything just kind of falls apart and they're just trying to hide all their traces. Season 3 feels like the aftermath of the aftermath, and we are setting up seasons 4 and 5, as in now we have a proper top dog distributor in Gus. We also now have an idea of who we are dealing with, right? The opposition at hand. We got Salamancas, right? Don Salamanca, of course, Tuco's uncle and all. It's been going great. It's been going great. Season 3 has been pretty good so far. It's been pretty good. That's pretty much it for my review for Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 5. If you do enjoy this reaction, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video with your friends if you want. Early access available on the Patreon. Links in the description below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have a nice day. Take care. Have a nice day. I already said have a nice day. Peace.